Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so we're talking about the Boston Celtics and the LA Lakers playing tonight. Obviously, a storied rivalry in this league, if not the storied rivalry in this league. It's going to be at 7 o'clock Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. And, the Boston Celtics are a really elite team. Obviously, they're the defending champions. They're second in the standings overall in the Eastern Conference with a 31-13 record. They have a home away record of 16-5, and are third in offensive rating, fifth in defensive rating, and third in overall net rating. So this is a very elite contender, to say the least. And they're coming off a back-to-back against the Los Angeles Clippers that went into overtime. Clippers did not have James Harden or Kawhi Leonard, but they did have the ability to push the Celtics all the way to overtime, where the Celtics just ultimately hit shots from behind the arc as usual, which is what their MO is. They're going to shoot a lot of threes a lot of the time. So if you're not guarding the perimeter against the Celtics, it's curtains. They're going to beat you. There's no question about that. Tonight they got a couple players on the injury report that I'd expect to play. Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, Al Horford, Drew Peterson, and Kristaps Porzingis are all game-time decisions for this particular matchup. Of course, for the Lakers, we have Anthony Davis is a game-time decision. Jalen Hood-Schifino out with the hamstring. LeBron James, game-time decision. And, of course, Vanderbilt and Christian Wood are out for this matchup. Of course, we expect Vanderbilt to be available on Saturday against the Golden State Warriors, our very next matchup. So it should be very interesting to see the return of Vando, but it will not be against the Celtics, for whom he had his injury against last year. When he came back and initially got hurt here, he was playing against the Celtics. But no Vando tonight. Your Lakers are going to be wearing their yellow uniforms. The Boston Celtics are going to be wearing their green uniforms. Get that out the way early. It's traditional old school style. Definitely pleased with that. I did watch highlights of all of the Celtics' last 5 games, including the game they had against the Clippers. And they've been for their standards, if I'm being honest with you, they've been struggling a little bit. And I noticed because they've had players coming in and out of the lineup. Kristaps has been kind of hovering around game time decision to out just about every game these days. But they've had their share of blowouts. Of course, we said they beat the Clippers by 4 in overtime. And in that matchup, it was really about the Clippers' others. Of course, we know, since we just saw the Clippers, how deep the Clippers are. So it wasn't hard for them to find talent in other areas for which to attack. And that's exactly what they did. Amir Coffey and Kevin Porter Jr. had fantastic basketball games. Coffey with 24 points on 9 of 15 shooting, 1 of 2 from behind the arc, and Kevin Porter Jr. was 12 of 21 from the field, 2 of 6 from behind the arc for 26 points, 3 steals, and 7 assists, 7 boards. So Kevin Porter is starting to round into form, and that's really terrifying for the rest of us. Of course, you got to mention Derrick Jones Jr., who had 29 points, 1 block, 3 steals, 3 assists, and 7 boards on 12 of 20 shooting, 4 of 7 from behind the arc. So when Derrick Jones is playing like that, Clippers are a different basketball team. And of course, you got to mention Terrence Mann with 11 points and 7 assists as well. So they really put it on the Clippers, but ultimately, the Boston Celtics rather, but ultimately the Celtics still got the win. Derek White had 20 points, 4 assists on 4 of 12 from behind the arc, 7 of 17. Jaylen Brown had 8 of 15 from the field, 2 of 2 from behind the arc for 25 points, 3 steals. JT Money, Jason Tatum had 24 points, 2 blocks, 1 steal, 8 assists, 7 boards, 9 of 22 from the field, 4 of 13 from behind the arc. Peyton Pritchard had 9 points, 3 assists, 4 rebounds, 4 of 11 from the field, 1 of 7 from behind the arc. So he was a little cold from behind the arc. Hopefully that continues. Neemias Queta had 7 of 5 from the field for 11 points. And so we got to be very careful with the Boston Celtics, obviously, because they have an extremely talented team. I don't think their bench is overly loaded, but they could have the sixth man of the year this year in Peyton Pritchard, who's having a breakout. This wasn't exactly a great example of that for him, but he's really been good all season long, like really good. And so that kind of sums up the Clipper game. Before that, they played the Golden State Warriors, blew them all the way out. They embarrassed the hell out of the Warriors, 125-85, vicious beatdown. They were up by as much as 45 points in this game. Killed them in the paint, 52-26, which is really strange considering this is the Boston Celtics and they shoot threes. But they also hit threes too, 20 of 48 from behind the arc, 41%. And that's what really killed the Golden State Warriors. They were 14 of 53 for 26 from behind the arc and 34% from the field. 32 of 92 from the field for the Golden State Warriors to the Celtics 49 of 92. So they just really blasted the Golden State Warriors on their home court, man. Run the boards by 12, 50 to 38. Just killed them on the defensive rebounds, 42 to 28. 9 blocks, 8 steals. The defense was on high display. So yeah, this was not really a game. It wasn't. It was bad from start to finish for the Golden State Warriors. Celtics just really handled them. 5 of 10 from the field, 2 of 6 from behind the arc for Peyton Pritchard for 14 points, 9 assists. You know, that's a little more like it for him. Luke Cornett had a pretty good game, 8 points, 2 blocks, 2 assists, 7 rebounds on 4-4 from the field. 12 minutes of play, so that was really good play from Luke Cornett. Sam Hauser had a really good one, 3 of 6 from behind the arc, 4 of 7 from the field, 11 points. So, you know, they got a lot of production, man. Jason Tatum had 22 points, 2 steals, 7 assists and 9 boards, 9 of 20 from the field, 3 of 10 from behind the arc. Porzingis played 6 of 13 from the field, 3 of 7 from behind the arc, 18 points, 2 assists and 7 rebounds. So, you know, Derek White ended up having a box score game, 8 points, 3 blocks, 1 steal, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, plus 23. Jaylen Brown, 8 of 14 from the field, 17 points, 2 assists, 4 rebounds against the Golden State Warriors. So they just really, they had a good time beating up on the Warriors. It wasn't too difficult. All of their starters played under 30 minutes. It was very easy game for the Boston Celtics. Before that, they played against the Atlanta Hawks that beat them. It was a really close game, but they ran into a Hawks team that was very confident. They had played another overtime game against the Hawks, attempted 104 shots from the field, 40 of 104, which is crazy. And the Hawks were 44 of 93. So it was poor shooting from the Boston Celtics that really hurt them. 15 of 52 from behind the arc. Sometimes you live by the 3, other times you die by it. The Celtics died by it, I think, with this one. And the Hawks didn't shoot that much better. 9 of 37 from the 3 for 24 points. So they actually shot a worse percentage, but were significantly less than their attempts. And both teams got to the line a lot. 22 of 28 for the Hawks, 20 of 23 for the Celtics. The Hawks won the boards 55 to 53. And it was a real close game all the way through. You know, it really was. And I think the Hawks really destroyed them in the paint, obviously, when you consider the Celtics shot 52 threes and they only shot 37 of them. So the rest of that was in the paint, 60 to 42. And that's really where they made their money. So the Celtics have a bad shooting night and you attack their paint, you have a chance. But even then, it took overtime for the Hawks. Like some really great clutch shooting from multiple players. So the Celtics find ways of winning games regardless, even when they don't play well. And they just so happen to lose this one because, you know, you got to deal with Trae Young in overtime with 28 points, 2 blocks, 2 steals, 11 assists, 4 rebounds. He filled up the box score, man. 10 of 23 shooting from the field. Dyson Daniels had a phenomenal shooting night, 11 of 14 from the field for 23 points, a steal, 4 assists, and 3 rebounds. Yucca Okongwu played fantastic, 19 points, 4 blocks, 2 assists, 13 boards, 5 of them offensive rebounds. So, you know, that's really what it was. DeAndre Hunter had 3 offensive rebounds, 16.6 total rebounds, 2 steals. So, you know, you got a game like that coming out of this team, a double-double from Jalen Johnson. It's just hard to beat the Hawks, man. We saw how it was against the Hawks down there. They play well in close game situations, as we know. Derek White had a big game, 21 points, 2 assists, 8 rebounds on 5 of 16 from behind the arc. My God, you let Derek White shoot 16 threes. But that's the Celtics for you. 7 of 20 from the field. Jaylen Brown was 9 of 27 from the field, 2 of 9 from behind the arc. So they just had a bad shooting night, man. Peyton Pritchard was good, 7 of 12 from the field, 4 of 8 from behind the arc against the Hawks for 20 points and 6 boards. And Jason Tatum had 23 points, 3 steals, 7 assists, 8 rebounds on 2 of 9 shooting from behind the arc, 7 of 21 from the field. So they just had a lot of hoisted threes, and of course you live by it or die by it. And if Derek White's missing 11 threes and both of your stars are missing 7 threes, you know, that's a recipe for your opponent beating you if you're the Celtics. So that's how the Atlanta game went. Definitely was fun watching the Celtics lose that game. I ain't gonna lie. Also, they played the Orlando Magic before that. Easy win, easy money. The Orlando Magic are still trying to get healthy. From what I understand, Franz Wagner is day-to-day now, so he could be back soon. But they still don't have everybody, of course. And they didn't really get a whole lot out of their bench. 9 points out of Trevelin Queen, somebody we let go. Somebody I really liked, we let go. Lakers, Trevelin Queen. Most people don't remember him rather, but I do. Small forward, now plays for Orlando. Walked away with 9 points, a steal, an assist, and 4 rebounds on 4-10 shooting from the field, or 5 from behind the arc, though. Did not shoot the ball well from behind the arc. Anthony Black had 4-10 as well. 0-3 from behind the arc with 13 points, 3 assists off of the bench for Orlando. You know, Cole Anthony's starting to get into form now that some guys are out. 9-15 from the field, 2-5 from behind the arc for 23 points and 7 rebounds on that one. 15 points from Wendell Carter, 15-9. And Paolo Banchero went for 21, 4 and 4. Still trying to work his way back into form on 8-20 shooting. So he just didn't get enough production. When you go up against the Boston Celtics, you know, Jason Tatum walks away with 30 points on 4-9 from behind the arc, 12-21 from the field. Porzingis walks away with 23 points, 7-10 from the field, 3-5 from behind the arc. You know, Drew Holiday goes 3-6 from behind the arc for 9 points, and Jaylen Brown goes for 20 points and 3 steals. So it was just a tough night, man. They got a lot from their bench as well for the most part. Hauser had a good game. Horford, Cornette, Cada, Pritchard. Kind of a quiet night for Pritchard, but ultimately they just got enough from their bench to really just maul this team. That's really what it came down to, man. But yeah, so that was a surefire blowout. Celtics didn't have any problem there because Orlando shot 15% from behind the arc, 5-32. That's just not gonna ever beat the Celtics ever. 41% from the field. You know, that's just not gonna get it done. 15 turnovers. 15 assists. We talk about assists and the correlation between whether or not you have a good game or a bad one. And this continues. 15 assists for the Orlando Magic. They only scored 94 points. I mean, you're just not going to get far if you don't assist the ball, Lakers. It's not just us. It's everybody. You got to get 30. It takes 30 to win, in my humble opinion. So unless your team is able to stifle people defensively, and the other team shooting extremely cold, that really helps. And that's exactly what the Celtics had. 25 assists got them the big blowout. So, you know, that's just what it is, man. Celtics also, before that, had a tough game against the Toronto Raptors, where they actually lost that game by 13 points in Toronto. Very surprising stuff. They had Jason Tatum, they had Porzingis, Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, all were out there. Horford, Pritchard, everybody played. Pritchard had a big game, 7-11 from the field, 4-3 from behind the arc, 20 points, 4 assists for Peyton. But they just really had a cold night, man. 4-16 from the field for Jaylen Brown, only attempted 1-3. Derek White, 1-for-7 from behind the arc, 2-9 from the field for 6 points. It's an uncharacteristic game. No boards for Derek White, no steals. Just a bad Derek White game all the way around. Really bad Derek White game. Drew Holiday was 5-11 from the field, 12 points, 2 assists. Not enough production there for what they were trying to do. Jason Tatum had 16 points, 7 assists, 10 rebounds. Not enough production, 5-15 from the field, 3-9. So they just had a bad game for their standards, man. That's what it came down to. Porzingis played pretty well. 18 points, 2 blocks, 1 steal, 3 assists, 8 boards, 7 of 11 shooting, 4 or 5 from behind the arc. He probably should have been shooting a lot more for what they were trying to accomplish. Now Horford had a 10 and 4 block game. But they missed a lot of shots, man. They really did. The only 2 people who were actually hitting shots consistently for them in this one was Peyton Pritchard and Porzingis. And they didn't shift into making them the focus. So they got stomped out by R.J. Barrett, who had 22, 1, 8 assists, and 10 rebounds. Wow. R.J. Barrett really does assist the ball very well as a pure scorer. He's turned into a fantastic player overall. Davion Mitchell had 10 points, 2 steals, 5 assists, 4 rebounds. Definitely somebody I want the Lakers to target. Scotty Barnes had 8-16, 18 points, 2 blocks, 1 steal, 9 assists, 3 rebounds. So when you see this type of production from their scorers in the assist column, 9 there for Barnes, 8 for Barrett, 5 for Mitchell, 4 for Grady, 4 for Olynyk, you can see why Toronto got them. Toronto definitely got them. And that was also very fun to watch the Celtics just put on their city uniforms and get completely demolished by a much lesser 10-31 Toronto Raptor team. Somebody made a lot of money betting on the Raptors in that one. So yeah, that's really what it comes down to, man. The Boston Celtics have struggled for their standards this definitely signifies that. I didn't watch any highlights prior to that, but they had a 1-point win against the Pelicans. I should have watched those highlights. I was starting to watch them and decided not to, but they only won by 1. And then they had lost to the Sacramento Kings before that by a lot. So this Celtics team is kind of going through the motions for their standards, if I'm being completely honest with you. Losing games against the Kings, 1-point game against the Pelicans, losing against the Toronto Raptors, losing against the Atlanta Hawks, having overtime with the Clippers last night. They're not playing their best ball right now. That's what it really comes down to. They are an elite basketball team. They're definitely better than the Lakers, but they're not playing their great ball right now. Guys are having bad shooting nights. Obviously, they're going to overshoot the 3. That's just their MO. But it ain't falling like it's supposed to be falling. And I think the Lakers can catch them off guard, especially since they've had 2 overtime games in the past 4 games. Clippers almost ran through them without their stars. I think this is a great time to run into the Celtics. Call me crazy, but I think it's a great time to run into them. Now, we are not the greatest team, though. That's the problem. We don't have the greatest roster. Much has been said about our issues. We're coming off a big win against the Washington Wizards, where I thought we played really well for all of the things that we wanted to accomplish. I think we checked off most of the boxes, rebounded pretty well, shot the ball pretty solid. Not great shooting there, 43 of 90 from the field, 11 to 34 from behind the arc for 32%, but that's like average, a little below average. But we took care of our assist column for 30, took care of the points in the paint, 58 to 42, only turned the ball over 11 times. So I thought we did pretty good for what we are trying to accomplish in individual areas. So, you're not going to pat yourself on the back for beating a tanking team that only has 6 wins on the season, but it was definitely a get-right game for our team where LeBron walked away with a triple-double. Anthony Davis had another big night, 29 points, 4 blocks, 5 assists, 16 rebounds, 4 offensive boards. And so we feel good about that, man. Hopefully Max Christie can shoot better. He didn't shoot well. Austin did not shoot well in that game at all, but did have 8 assists and only 2 turnovers. So, we were getting Rui Hachimura his touches. He's getting a little more attempts on average over the last 5 games or so. Dorian Finney-Smith had a big game from behind the arc, 4 of 6 from the 3. So, we're going to have to play our best game tonight. We need Dalton Connect to have more than 8 minutes, and he's going to have to shoot well when he does. That sort of thing is just important. I think it's noteworthy that the Lakers, I read and heard today that the Lakers re-signed Quincy Olivari to our G League affiliate. I don't know that he has a 2-way with us, but he is with the G League team. He could probably be taken from us at any moment. But the point is, he's still with the organization to some degree. I'd like to think we're going to try to get him involved somehow on the big team. He should not be in the G League for too much longer, whether it be with us or anywhere else. But at least he's still with our affiliate at this point. We did re-sign him last night. So that was encouraging. I would feel a lot better if he were part of our regular rotation on our big team, if I'm being honest with you, especially with how we're lacking in talent right now. So, yeah, this is a big game against the Celtics, man. It's always a big game when the Celtics are in town. They're our arch rivals. We hate them with all of our heart and soul. Everybody who's ever worn a uniform takes pride in beating the Celtics. Last time we saw the Celtics, we beat the Celtics without our stars. Austin Reeves walked away with 32 points. We're going to need another performance like that, whether our stars are on the floor or not. That's what it really comes down to. This is the Celtics, the defending champions, team that has 18 NBA championships, the only team that has more championships than us. We got to beat them. We got to beat them tonight no matter what. It's one of those situations where it really doesn't matter. It's just like the Cowboys and the Washington Commanders or old school Redskins. It doesn't matter who's on the team. You want to win. It doesn't matter if you have a great team and they have a bad team or vice versa. You want to win, and you expect your team to go out there and do everything they can to get a victory. So that's what I'm expecting. We're not a better team than Boston by a long shot. They're not playing their best ball, though, and I want to win. I don't have any patience for us not showing up against the Celtics no matter who's in the uniform. It could be a bunch of dudes my talent going up against Michael Jordan's and Scottie Pippen, and if they had a whole team full of guys like that, it would not matter because I would want us to beat them because they're wearing green. And that's because at the end of the day, the Lakers should always see it as their birthright to beat the Celtics. So that's really what it comes down to. I really believe that. I think it's my right to always see the Celtics lose at all times. Not even just against us, against anybody. And given the fact they're coming off a back-to-back not a back-to-back, but an overtime game last night, and it is a back-to-back actually. Yes, against the the other ops Clippers. I really want to see us take advantage of what should be a somewhat tired Boston Celtics basketball team that might take us for granted if we're lucky. They might, given the fact that everybody knows we're struggling right now. But LeBron James still on the floor, and it's still purple and gold, so you know they're going to be awake. Don't count on them not being. So that's pretty much what it is, man. The game starts at 7 o'clock, which means about 7:14. You guys know how the Lakers are when we start games at home. They never be on time. On purpose, mind you. And, I just want to see the Los Angeles Lakers play the best ball tonight. I really do. I don't care that they're better than us. I want us to wake up for this game because it's them, because it's the green team. We have to always show up against the green team. Even if we don't win no games throughout the course of the year, I want to go 2-79 and beat the green team twice. I kid you not. Even if we're tanking, we got to get a win against them because it's them. BDL 44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.